who owns the copyright? There is a lot of questions around the source of the information that AI is using, and if they need to pay or they don't need to pay the creators.
I feel like most people don't either have that kind of support or that kind of skill sets, because some are much more focused on the craft and not so much on the marketing.
Carlos Solà-Vila, CEO and co-founder of ArtDott, Robert Reuko Milus, multidisciplinary visual artist and ambient music producer. Right now there's the AI shadow that I think for a lot of people is very scary. And of course we are getting into AGI territory.
In any way, authenticity never is going to be replaced for AI, or never is going to be created from AI.
We provide that means of support for all the other artists at ArtDott so that we can bring them into these larger immersive projects that would be very challenging to tackle as a solo artist.
Hello everyone. My team and I have been crafting content and stories that inform, inspire, empower, and bring real value to you. If you haven't already, please take a moment to check that you're subscribed. It's the easiest way to support our work and stay updated with every new release. Join us on this journey of learning and discovery. Hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for our latest drops.
Hello and welcome to Teenage Guarda YouTube podcast show, once again powered by citiesabc.com and businessabc.net and wisdomia.ai. Today I'm quite excited to bring two new friends and fantastic personalities of the world of the arts, the creative economy, that I think it's one of my personal and first passions, but I've been not bringing so much as I would like to our series. And these two personalities, you cannot put it in the box because both of them have amazing careers that touch a lot of different verticals, from business to technology to forward-thinking digital transformation, and as well a lot of cutting-edge solutions like AI, spatial computing, and blockchain integrated into platforms in the art world. So I welcome Carlos Solà-Vila, a passionate art collector and forward-thinking digital transformation leader with over 20 years of experience in fashion, luxury, and emerging technologies, and now as the CEO and co-founder of ArtDott, a company established in 2023 focused on integration of multiple areas of technology. And Carlos has a fantastic business and I would say multidisciplinary background that integrates roles in Ralph Lauren, Burberry, and Inditex, the group of Zara, where he managed £500 million euros of budget and 1.5 billion retail organization. And at Mango as well, he was a global personality pushing a lot of different things. Then my second guest and special is Robert Reuko Milus. Reuko, as is known, is one of the fast-growing and international artists, and is a multidisciplinary visual artist and ambient music producer based in Oslo, Norway, and coming from the US. Reuko's work is amazing in terms of his visual impact and as well how he touched the nature-inspired particular simulations and luminescent sculptures and installations. And he uses cinematography, advanced practical simulations, and a lot of different things we're talking today. I could not be more excited to have you both here, and as well the personal relationship that we've been building, and I'm looking forward to welcome here. So, Carlos and Reuko, great to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to be here with you.
Thank you for having us. It's going to be fun.
Yes, so I'll start with a personal question. You guys come from completely different backgrounds. Carlos, you're from Spain to the world, and you, Rob, from US to the world, and now in Norway, where you live. So I will start probably the first question to each of you. If you would go back, I would say like to your childhood, would you be seeing you where you are now? That's the first question.
Well, I don't think so. I think that for me, it's super important to understand the fluidity of the things and life as part of that fluidity. And it's not easy to see yourself even where I'm going to be in 3 years' time, or maybe in 1 year time. The things are changing so fast, and this is something that I learned in my past, of course, years of experience, professional life, my curiosity to understand how the things are working. And what I can tell you with your question is it's not easy to visualize yourself in a long term, because even that you have clarity of how you want to put your time and how you want to build something with your life. I never thought that even AI could be part of my wall. You can imagine 50 years ago. It's not possible. It means that the new things that happen in society, in technology, in life, with the new generations and everything, it's everything so new that I don't think that you can see yourself in more than maybe 6 months and 1 year, because you don't know exactly the impact of the changes that we are facing right now and what is going to happen with your professional life.
That was yeah. I think Carlos put it beautifully. We are all beings in like a state of change all the time. We're evolving, to our worldview and our inspirations and our aspirations and our dreams. But I think like from my upbringing, like I guess I grew up in a few different places. I was born in one state in North Carolina, and then I grew up part in upstate New York, and then I grew up part in Michigan. And then I was kind of jet setting for a while in suitcases until I ended up here in Norway. And I think if I were to look at if my younger self were to see myself today, thinking about it now, which I hadn't really thought about before, actually, this is kind of where I hoped I would end up. It's because when I was really young, I was really into storms and weather and like natural phenomena, like really powerful forces of nature. I was obsessed with disaster movies like volcanoes and like twisters, tornadoes and floods and stuff like that. And at the time, I just thought it was like a really cool experience in nature where you feel the wind around you and the sky gets dark and the leaves are blowing over and everything. And then I saw the movie Twister, God, what was it, 97, 98? And then from watching that movie, I would create my own like paper versions of the Dorothy weather instrument machine, and I would like fill it with like toilet paper balls to simulate the sensors that were inside the Dorothy thing. And I would put it outside, and like if there was like a big storm coming, I would put it outside and pretend that I was Bill from the movie. And it's in a funny way, it's been a journey, of course, like you grow up and you do different things. Eventually got into like recording my TV for music videos, but I would record like video games that I was playing and like put Linkin Park music to it. And I would like use a headphone to like the microphone to put music on top because I didn't have like a video editor on a computer at the time. And so I was kind of always interested in like media, and especially interactive media, like video games was a super early passion. All my brothers and friends were into it. So it was a big thing that we shared. Eventually, like, into high school and college is when I got into the production side of like creating virtual worlds, like working with map editors for games like Warcraft and like System Shock and Quake. And I was obsessed with that. Just like, we can make our own maps and you can share it on the community and you can play against each other, play with each other. So you have like this user-generated content and this new kind of community that's just not about consuming, but it's about producing and sharing this kind of creative experience together. And yeah, that eventually led to like a professional dive into that. Like I dropped out of college because I wasn't really happy with the pace that we were learning things at. And in the US, college is very expensive. So I was like, well, if I can find some mentors to get myself into a position of like just learning the tools, 3D modeling and texturing and animation, then then I think I'll have a shot at getting in. And then, yeah.
So you both have fantastic, amazing multidisciplinary personalities, both in terms of diversity of mediums, diversity as well of career, because like you said, Rob, you start working games and you did actually quite a lot of things as a VFX and virtual visual designer, and actually quite big, high-profile gaming production companies and graphic design consulting. And in your case, Carlos, of course, you work with some of the biggest fashion brands in the world, but you were always an art collector and a lot of different things. So I would like to pick from both of you guys how this kind of multidisciplinary approach kind of shape who you are today, and as well what became your vision to create ArtDott. A bit of that textualize, a bit of that background.
I'm an electrical engineer. I'm collector because this is my passion and I love art, and I love to go to the studios of the artists and talk with them, and I love the creative process and the way that they see the things and the way that they interpret the emotions and how they express all that and help society to connect in that kind of art world, because I think that's what we are talking about, no? Because you know that what's going on with politics and everybody's fighting one against the other, and we use a lot the rational space in our brain, trying to explain or trying to justify or trying always to have an opinion of everything. But when you move to the wall of art, you don't use the rational, you just use the emotions, no? And it's always that kind of place that the people, they can join, they can observe, they can share, they can connect, and you can create very big or good communities with a very good foundations, just with the time that you look for that art in that space, no? I think that this is, if I need to choose art space or politics, I'm going to the art space, I'm going to the emotions, and here is where I feel more human and I feel more connected. And then, of course, I'm an electrical engineer, and it means that I see the world with electricity. I see electricity moving from one place to another. And now it's amazing because we could manage that electricity to put in a pixels, to put it colors, and the people, they can go there and they can feel something. It's like, wow, we are in the next level of electricity, that we can manage all that in a way that the people, they can feel it, and they can connect with the same languages with the brains, and they can connect with the speed everywhere, and this is what it moved me to put my full time in that project, because there is that kind of passion for art. I see that there's a lot of advantages for the society if we can move in that direction and make it accessible for everybody. And then from the other side, we have the technology that allow us to move that emotions from one place to another. And then, of course, we have Reuko and other artists. That is the new generation of amazing people, talented people, that I always talk about the Renaissance, because they know how to merge the technology, the human side, and the art in a way that I never seen. I think that is that kind of combine all that kind of things in a more complex, because it's complex what they are doing, but they are doing that naturally. It's coming with the background, it's coming with the years of they have in this world and how they learn how to do the things. And I found that we have that kind of amazing talent with in that case, with Rob or with Reuko. And that's because we decided to join forces and say, guys, I think that I can help in one part. And of course, you are doing a lot of things that they are amazing. And use my experience as a corporate, as a fashion, as a person that I'm a collector, of course, and I know that. But I think that that's the reason, because we started to talk and we find that it was an option to work together, and that's the beginning that we start to move forward.
Beautiful answers, Carlos. Jeez. It's hard to follow up on that. So I think just going back to Dennis's question about multidisciplinary kind of influences and how that feeds into our thought process and how we approach everything from a business point of view, from creative point of view. I think the multidiscipline element is really, I don't know, it's a necessity to just live live a life that's full and rich. And I think I can draw back to part of why I departed from game development was to reconnect with the outside world that I felt was there was just too much time where the whole creative process was happening at the desk in the studio. And there was a lot like there was a lot of joy and camaraderie of like working with your friends, and you're all kind of hunkered down in like, you know, these tight studio rooms, you know, trying to get a game out and trying to get it out into the world. And it's some of the most hilarious, creative, fun people are who I've met in games, and it's especially game development. It's the people are really super passionate. And it's fun because you're also trying to you have the technology element of you're trying to discover new ways to do things, often within hardware limitations. So you have to be very creative about how you approach. Okay, we really want to get this kind of experience, this effect, this visual, but it needs to run on like a toaster. So how do we you know pull these technical strings to make this happen? So there's a lot of really fun technical puzzle solving that drew me in for a long time. But over time, I felt that became much more secondary. Like the technical pursuits of the process became secondary in whereas supporting the story and why are we here, what experience are we making, that became much more the focus. And what was really important to get that to a point that we like, you know, executing on the dream of the project was also to have the process be enjoyable as well. And I think you can only get so far just sitting in a room in front of a screen. And that's where you have to get out and have lived experience and work on different things. So I think it's important to take, even from the things that you love, taking a hiatus and just putting your head in a different space, putting your body in a different space. And that's where this happened around the time of 2020 when the NFT scene was really taking off. And the pandemic happened, so people couldn't go out and do anything anyway. So there was a lot of just exploration happening around that time. And that's when I started diving, because I've been a part of creative teams for so long, working on a shared vision, but I didn't really have any place to explore my own ideas in depth. So that's where the NFT scene kind of came in, where, okay, do I have a voice? What do I have to say? And, you know, can I just play in this space and maybe something will happen, and we can, maybe something that I make will connect with people. And that's really the whole point is to create artwork that's powerful and connects with people. And in part, it's to form a community. And in part, it's for self-discovery, to understand who we are as creators and artists and humans. So, so with the 2020 timeline, that's where I dove into NFTs for a bit to explore that. And then there was some success with like Foundation, and then there was the Tezos community, which was really energetic. And that was a really fun, open, free time to be an artist, because it's like you could be an artist without having clients and still sustain off of it. So it was a very unique time in like digital art history where these creatives could actually make a living off of their work. So that's where I'll jump forward a little bit in time here. So through the NFT community, that's where I connected with people from Steve Aoki's team, for example, from Zed, the music producer. And it's funny because you reach out to these people, and it's not through emails, it's through Instagram and through stories, and it's like all social media. I met Carlos through social media, through Instagram DMs. So it's all of my networking has happened like mostly through Instagram and social media. So that's where like, okay, we got into like live music, and it's like, hey, like we love your work, and you know, it's very kind of spectral and cosmic and energetic, and that would be like, we'd love to see that in like a live setting. And so we did some live visual collaborations for Zed, which appeared on these like sold out tours around the world. and just getting to see your work in front of 10,000 people in a totally live setting. Being someone who loves going to those things, I love going to live shows. It's very like communal and like almost religious moment of everybody in the same place at the same time with all of this energy from the stage, from the visuals, from the crowd. That was what kind of snapped my head into creating art that lives in the moment, where we can see, like we put it out there, and if it's in a physical experience like an installation, then you can see directly how it's connecting with people, versus you put it online and you don't really know what's happening, how people are receiving it. So that's where the physical, like bringing digital art into the physical world, combining these different disciplines and these different mediums, was really a powerful thing to witness. And of course, meeting these mega talents like Steve and Zed, and then and then just meeting up with Subtronics. I worked on their tours for a while. A shout out to Ray; he's amazing, amazing creative, running the whole live production there. I've done some music video work with them, and then coming off of the live visual elements, I wanted to kind of hone in back on the experience of, when I was younger, when I was a child, and my admiration for weather and just natural phenomena and just powerful experiences in nature that are like surrounding your senses, and everything else that you're thinking about, everything else that is in your head kind of becomes so small when you see this massive storm cloud just twisting above you. Because in the Midwest, like we sometimes we get tornadoes and really intense, like severe weather with lots of character lightning, and it's like a divine show of the elements in the sky. And some of the most beautiful sunsets and skies I've ever seen are from Michigan. It's really incredible in the spring and summer there. And I really wanted a project that was personal, that brought me back into those present, like physical experiences where like I'm out in nature and I'm freezing my fingers off trying to capture this point in time, and bringing that back to the studio to find a new artistic element, a new artistic perspective to interpret the experience of this landscape. And that's kind of where things took off for my personal works on Instagram with the series Soulbound. And that began as like, how do we combine these different passions? And it was very experimental. I didn't really have a narrative in mind so much. It was more, I want to illustrate this elemental experience in nature and just fully expose it. Like there's an invisible world all around us, and I want to lift the veil that's separating us from that. And I wanted to be very loose about it, just so that I didn't have any high like benchmarks or thresholds to get over. So it's like, okay, let's just experiment and post it and see what happens. And by the second post, it just took off like crazy everywhere, connecting with suddenly like millions of people from all corners of the world are connecting with this energy and natural landscapes project. And I didn't really understand at first what the story was there. It was just trying to express how I feel in these places. Like there's a moment that it doesn't have to be epic. It can be very quaint and very intimate, where you're just walking through your local park and you see the trees aligned in a certain way and the sun comes through the leaves, and you just feel this brief moment of like sort of a divine presence, like this connection with the elements, with nature, with air, with water, with life kind of flowing through everything all the time. It's this constant evolution happening on macro and microscopic levels, and representing that as just forms of energy kind of physically embedded in these landscapes, just hovering, and you could almost walk right through it and touch it. And I didn't expect it to. I felt a strong connection to the concept of bringing these worlds together, but I didn't expect how quickly that connected with people on such a massive audience. So from there, it was like, okay, there's something here, and I don't quite understand it, but through reading how people are connecting it, I'm starting to get a sense of what this means. And we just need to keep let's continue this, go to different places, different landscapes, and let the landscape inform the sculptures that emerge from them. And so I'm really just listening to what's happening, and I'm just painting my experience of how I feel in these places. And I post another chapter of the series, and then that one goes viral as well. And it's just this kind of series of powerful connections happening through the artwork. And that's where it really felt like is tapping into the work was tapping into something that I hadn't seen before. And it was a lot of just understanding how, I don't know what that means, and where should it go, you know? So after a while, it was getting into, okay, let's try it from different perspectives, and I had my partner, and he would go out to, I would kind of frame the scene. I'm like, just imagine you're walking out to the edge of this beach, and you're just reaching up to this energy, and it's within you, but now it's radiating across the landscape. And then, so that was a piece that we filmed just 15, 20 minutes from our home here. And then that also just connected with lots of people. And then, so there was like a lot of like, okay, I have a gut instinct that this is the direction that this is going. And that I'm excited to go in this direction. And it's like everything I was curious about, I would put a piece together around that idea. And then it would connect with lots of people. And just that there's a strong response to every step that we took with it. So there was a really, from an artist and a creative point of view, it's always really reassuring that your instincts are resonating with people. And I think what became really exciting as an evolution of the project was when I got into drone cinematography. And my husband, he's from the west coast of Norway, a town called Selje. It's gorgeous. It's like a postcard Norwegian fjord coastal town, beautiful beaches and mountains, and it's stunning. So I would just take a mini DJI drone and just fly across the coastline and just focus on these different points in the landscape that I felt that there was kind of a focal element where like there was a point of energy that was focused in this point in the landscape. And that continued to resonate with communities online on social media. And then that kind of got into like, okay, like now I have to get out there and hike and discover these places, and how remote can we get, and how many different can we revisit places that people are familiar with, but from a different perspective, and reveal something new. Because in a world where you have satellites and millions of cameras, it feels like there's nothing left to discover. And that was an opportunity to, what if we change the lens that we view the world, that we can discover a completely new world within it, and that we have something a world that we're familiar with, that we have a connection to, but an experience that is unfamiliar and that is new. And to bring those experiences together is kind of the driving force behind all the steps and the evolution of the project and the discovery of it. And that leads to a lot of solo trips to Iceland. That was incredible. And to really beautiful forests in Germany and the Alps and all across the mountains in Norway and the valleys and lots of waterfalls, and just exploring all these different natural landscapes in different times. So you're capturing, it's like a portrait of the landscapes, portrait of these landscapes at these specific points in time. So if I came back to the same location at a different time, what's the character, what's the energy that's there? And that just became a really nomadic project. And it's just a fully engrossing, inspiring process the whole way through. It's almost too addictive, to the point where I've filmed way more material than I've gone into the studio and finished, because the process of just getting out into these beautiful locations and suffering in the cold and the heats and the lack of sleep, trying to get up early for the sunset or stay up late for the sunrise, and yeah, it's just it's really a dream of a process.
First of all, because you guys have, of course, there's you as an artist, and probably we'll have a separate interview just for that, because you have fantastic work that I want to bring more. But Carl, so you created ArtDott in a kind of as an immersive brand tech platform that merges art, technology, and branding. And of course, Reuko is right now the key personality and leading some of the parts we do together. So first of all, what is ArtDott for people that don't know? ArtDott with 2 T's, and of course, all the names will be here wherever people are listening to us. But I wanted to hear more why you created it, as well how you engaged with Rob, because I think that's a fantastic joint venture where you put together, because Rob came out of building his work organically, like you said, initially on Instagram, and building a global community international, and as well testing a lot of technology with art and cutting edge. And then you build a platform for people like Reuko. So a bit of how that worked together.
I think that in the same way that Rob he spent some time to think about his career during the COVID. In our side, it was the same. So I was based in Hong Kong. It was the time that I was working in Ralph Lauren, and COVID came, and it was the time to rethink everything about ArtDott and define the foundations of, at the end of the day, became ArtDott. And during that process, it was that kind of a mix between how the new collectors they are going to collect and how digital it's going to be built with art. And that was the big 2 questions that I put in place, no? That understand the new generations, Gen Zs and millennials, how they are going to enjoy art in that kind of digital space, and how we can make that digital space with art, how art is going to be part in that digital space, and how we can be part of that construction, or how we can build that space with quality art, that the people they can have the same emotions that we have now when we go to the museums, or we have an amazing artworks in front of us. We start at the beginning. It was more focused because it was that kind of explosion of NFTs. Let's do it streaming services. Let's use blockchain, Web3s. It was all that kind of different technology coming to us, but then it was that kind of explosion of NFTs, and we decided to focus in B2B. We say, guys, I think that before to go to B2C, because even in the global scale, there is a lot of lack of regulation. Even the people, they can buy NFTs, but there is not, sometimes the governments, they not protect the rights of the buyers. It means that we understood that we cannot go faster on that part until we have the foundations of the legal side in place. And then it was the time to decide, okay, we are going to go to B2B, because it was coming with my background in the fashion companies. And they were struggling to connect with the new generations in that kind of DTC, direct to consumer strategy. No, it means that it was that kind of conversations in my corporate life to say, guys, now we have amazing flagship stores everywhere, but the new consumers, they just buying online, and they don't go more to the stores. It means that we understood that there is something missing there. We started to think that maybe immersive experience, how we can digitalize the physical stores, how we can use physical, digital, and mobile as part of the same concept. And that was coming with one of my old bosses in Burberry, Angela Aren, that she was pushing all that in Burberry, and then of course in Apple, and now in Ralph Lauren. But she always going in that direction, no? To have the physical space, to have that kind of digital that could be in all levels, in the websites, in the social, and everywhere. And then to have the mobile, because it's the way that the people, they can connect with everything that we are going to to tell. It means that it was that kind of corporate strategy. It was that kind of what's happening in the digital space right now with immersive experience. And then we started with connect with, as Rob say, in Instagrams with him. We were doing research about what's going on in the digital creation, something that you can connect, something that you can explain, something that you can feel, something people at the end of the day, and is always part of our journey with the teams, is we are trying to have people that, or teams that they have curiosity to learn and express, people that they have sensibility. And this is super important in that kind of journey of people that we are trying to put in the companies, that kind of curiosity, sensibility, and people that push the boundaries, because that's, and it's very dangerous in our space, because sometimes we lose the final user or the final consumer or the final collector in that journey, because you can put a lot of energy in the technology, but technology is not going to change anything. Well, we need to go to the customer experience. And this is the final user, the final collector, the final whatever it is that it's going to see the art or the digital art needs to be the beginning of everything that we are doing. Because at the beginning of the ArtDott, it was more technology based. No, we are going to do streaming. We are going to put Web3 and we are going to use blockchain. Stop. See, technology is there. It's the same with AI. Technology is there, but we need to know how to use it and how to make it human and how the humans, they are going to use it. And that's when it was the journey of exploration. Even now, we are still learning, is learning by doing. It's to have a lot of conversations, to put the right ingredients in the mix, now with, of course, with you, Denise, and other people in our journey. Even now we have a lot of new investment coming from that kind of immersive venues that they are creating around the world. We have venues coming in Singapore and other ones in China. We have amazing spaces here in London. It means that we see that little by little, everything is going in that kind of physical and digital spaces, that kind of digital space. And ArtDott, we feel comfortable there. We feel comfortable that we can bring a lot of value, and that's the reason because we connect with Rob and another artist, and this is where we are presenting projects in that kind of immersive spaces, in that kind of places that the brands, the companies, they want to bring the clients, and they want to start to play with the digital space in a more interactive way. We are not looking for that kind of passive, immersive spaces. We want that kind of spaces that the people, they can create communities, they can engage with the communities. There is something that, of course, they're coming with the artists as emotions, but it's that kind of new way even to use a lot of data. We have projects that they are based in the data that they can generate during things that happen in that kind of immersive spaces, and then how that data can help in that kind of co-creation processes too, because that's another thing that we are starting to see. There is not just a digital artist that is doing 100% of the digital immersive space. We see that little by little there is the need of the clients, of the collectors, to be part of the final piece. And here we can use algorithms that's coming from the artists. We can see that data coming from the audiences, and then from all of that to create that kind of full experience where the people, they see that they are part of the creation process. It means that we are moving in that kind of more co-creation. The artists who give that kind of line, algorithms, data, or even the aesthetics that they feel that this is the artist wants to do. But then there is that kind of inputs coming from other places that they can be part of the full experience. And this is the journey. This is the reason because we are still here in ArtDott, evolving. and we are evolving because we are moving in the meta space. There is a lot of things coming in that kind of meta space, even with the pixel streaming. That suddenly we have that kind of Unreal Engine, super powerful software that allow you to play in that kind of pixel streaming, and you can have interactions between different places at the same time with that kind of immersive experience. It means that we are learning a lot. We are still curious. That's important. It means that we are still trying to find how the new technology it's helping to do what we need to do, or what we want to do, or what the clients or the collectors want to do. But here is the journey that we have, and we have a lot of fun. And yes, it's we are very funny people, no, Rob?
We are hilarious people.
We are. It's just sometimes we can be super formal, but at the end of the day, it's just to play. It's what we learn. Is we need to play a lot with the technology. That's the point.
So Rob, I want to coordinate here. So because, like you mentioned, you start from testing cutting edge technology and then putting it in your work, and then becoming the artist that you are now with all the different variations. Because, like you mentioned,
I'm part of the company. It's not just artist. It's part of the company.
Shareholder. I know that's why
No, but that's the change. That is, we change from the creators as an artist, as a creator, as a brand, and this is super important to understand.
No, I don't want to touch precisely that. And I think I want to touch from three angles. So angle one is you as an artist looking at a platform that has ArtDott. Second, you as a technologist, artist, and creator, and how you bring as well that to the platform. And third, you as a shareholder and as a business person that is pushing the platform forward. Because one of the challenges we have in the creator economy is really, like you said, during the NFT bubble, let's put it that way, there was a lot of fantastic things that happened, but it was not sustainable. It became a bubble. And since then, the creative economy, as we discussed, although is growing, mostly is like bloggers, podcasters, but artists are struggling. And now we have AI as well coming to the actually stealing a lot of artists, let's put it that way. The Ghibli studios in Japan the other day was completely taking a lot of AI inputs, and you can copy anything. So how do you see that, and that bridge what Carlos mentioned from a business building the platform and putting that together, and you as an artist as well now as a shareholder and a business person?
Whew, that's a big net to throw out there. I think to start with the first point of the reason I wanted to connect with Carlos and ArtDott, part of it was through a mutual friend who was already signed with Carlos, Saleh Karasu. She does this beautiful simulation artwork, and she's showcased in amazing locations across Times Square, and she's done live music visuals as well. So I kind of bounced with her before I talked with Carlos. I'm like, hey, so there's this company called ArtDott, and they're like this digital gallery, and I see that you're signed with them, and how is it? She's like, oh, they're very active, and they're there's a lot of communication, and that's kind of what I was looking for, is somebody who they want to build something aggressively together with their artists, and we work together to shape our kind of our creative destinies together. So that was kind of the vision. Like that was I wanted to have a partner to take these physical works and bring them into these physical spaces, because I feel that's where you have this this amplification of emotion, when you can, even when you're surrounded by screens, if they're synchronized with content that's produced with an intention, whether that's to provoke a sense of calmness or a sense of wonder or a sense of adventure, even just 3 or 4 walls of LEDs, suddenly when you're surrounded by it and it kind of opens, it consumes your peripheral vision, you get this feeling that you're not just standing in front of screens, but you're surrounded by this virtual window into this other world. And for me, that was really exciting to see. Once we talked with Mark at W1 Curates, and we did some visual testing in their studio. And once they invited us in, and I adapted some of my Soulbound contents, visuals for their screens there. And that was the first time I had experienced in person what a few walls of LEDs can do to you, like emotionally. And it was way more powerful than I expected, because I would just imagine it in my head, and I would like get close to my monitor screen and my laptop and like just, okay, like here's the screen, this is how big it is. But once you can walk through a space and you feel the scale of it, and the music is surrounding you, and the room is just built to be an immersive artistic experience, it was like we have to go in this direction. Like this is the next level of what digital can be experientially. And I felt that Carlos was like, he was the partner that, it takes a team to make these big things happen. And I had full trust that we could go on this path together. And this kind of evolved into, last year I worked with some friends in Dubai, and that's where we did the 9D breathwork meditations at the Theater of Digital Art. So we had basically a 6-month residency where we had 360-degree panoramic projections of the Soulbound artwork, the series of that, paired with the full-length breathwork session. It's about 2 hours long for the whole meditation, and that was like that was the first large-scale thing that we did where the art was made for the space. Because we had done some showcases in New York and Times Square, and we've done some stuff in London. But Dubai was the first moment where I worked with my friend Alexos and the breathworker Nasima, and we delivered a intended, curated artistic experience paired with a physical ritual of meditation and breathwork. And then we brought that to kind of a small prototype with W1 in London this year, in I think March, or I think it was May actually. Yeah, March. Yeah, so sometime in the spring. So
maybe you can share the news, no, Reuko?
Yeah. We can. Yeah, I'll jump to that in a
We're going to
second.
give you a super news, Denise.
Oh, looking forward.
Yeah. So you're the first to hear it, but we are now in the beginning process of putting together a new exhibition for Frameless in London for February, and that's going to be in the direction of Soulbound, but created entirely for the canvas of the blank canvas room in Frameless. And yeah, that's I've seen a lot of my favorite artists at Frameless, and it's a really impressive, beautiful venue to be invited to. So that is,
first of all.
Yeah,
it's a beautiful place.
It's going to be
beautiful. We're really excited about it.
It's going to be the first solo exhibition of Reuko in London. It means will be the official presentation, because we did another exhibition last year, but it was very small in just a private event. But now it's going to run for several months, and it's going to be the first solo exhibition. We are going to invite, of course, VIPs, clients, and it's going to be sure it's going to have an impact in everything that we are going to do there. It means that we are super happy, and we are super happy to share with you and to share here, because it's the first time that we talk about that openly. It means that we just signed this morning the agreement, because I couldn't say anything until we have the paper. You know how it works, but we are happy to share.
Now, congratulations. That's for people listening to us. So frameless.com is a platform and one of the most cutting-edge galleries in the world, located in central London. I know that I have an audience all over the world, but for the ones around here, they can find their website on frameless.com. Congratulations, guys.
Yeah, thank you. No, we're really excited to work with Frameless on this, and I think it's going to be a really powerful journey, and there's a lot of challenges, especially for this kind of immersive venue, especially since I work with filmed materials and it's not fully digital environments. So adapting that for a panoramic space is it's a really exciting challenge to take on. And so far our early tests are showing some really exciting things. So we're really excited to show more when that's ready.
And the plan is to go global. I don't want to share here because we didn't sign the rest of the places, but the plan is to move global, more in Asia side, because Asia, Middle East is the ones that right now we are focused, and we see a lot of recovery in China. There is I don't know, but right now it was hard the last years, and now little by little the economy it's getting better, and there is the need, or they are creating that kind of immersive experiences in different places, and we are there. It means that you are going to see, or we are going to communicate more news in that direction, and we see that there is a lot of opportunities. Even now, Rob or Reuko is in all the big screens in China. I don't know, there is around 20 big screens in that kind of amazing cities that they have with 20 million people. Suddenly you have Wuhan, like 20 million people. And then there is that kind of screens, and Drop is there. Obviously, Reuko is in that screens because we signed a 2 years gallery circuit in China, and we are in K11 shopping malls. We are in that kind of big screens. It means this is the beginning of how to share, how to know Reuko, how to introduce digital art as part of the landscape of the cities or the shopping malls, or that kind of visuals that little by little is going to be part of our daily lives. It means that we are in that kind of transition. We are in that kind of digital translation. Of course, Europe normally is a little we love more that kind of traditional way to do things, but in Asia and Middle East they are moving so fast, and we feel that we can grow there, and we can communicate whatever we need to do in that spaces, and they are building that kind of digital spaces in a way that we never seen. It means that every time that we go to the new space is bigger, or it's that kind of iconic buildings, or they are trying to move that kind of amazing places, because they see that that kind of digital immersive spaces, it's part, or needs to be part of the experience of the cities.
So I have a couple of questions related with that. So because, like you mentioned, Carlos, you are focused on B2B and building an ecosystem worldwide where you bring the artists together, and of course having an artist as well part of this. So I want to touch probably more from the angle of the creative economy and the artists that you are choosing. And if you want to highlight as well, both you, Rob, as an artist, and you, of course, Carlos, as both of you as well, and the two angles, because one of the challenges we are facing right now is that we have all these fantastic AI tools and a lot of things you mentioned, from you can do amazing things if you're creative, but at the same time, it's very difficult to commercialize and to create business models around this. And I think it's one of the challenges I've been seeing a lot in the art world. And then there's another thing. I think, Rob, you are probably one of the few artists that I know that understands technology, because I think most of the artists, they might use AI. Yeah, I think you know what I mean. This is actually, for me, there's as well a lack of digital or AI transformation that is key for the success of art. So I would like to see how both of you are tackling this, because of course this is, I think there's around 3 million artists around the world, and the statistics are a bit horrendous because most of them are on the verge of poverty. And most of them have to work in like 10 jobs, 20. At the same time, like you said, Carlos, there's a lot of opportunities, but you need to know how you adapt this. And then, of course, there's I think that right now there's the AI shadow that I think for a lot of people is very scary. And of course, we are getting into AGI territory. But I want to hear from you guys how you're tackling this, both from ArtDott and as an artist, and as in this case, as a business person.
AI, it's amazing. I think that we still don't understand what's going to happen with AI because it's moving so fast, and we need to put our eyes super open to understand how it's going to work and the impact that it's going to have in our lives and in the creative space itself. Even it's not clear the copyrights and how they create the outputs after that. See, there is a lot of questions around the source of the information that AI is using, and if they need to pay or they don't need to pay the creators, if it's just inspiration or creation or whatever. It means that it's again that kind of the governments or the legal side is coming later. And that's create a lot of uncertainty even for the creative people, because say, guys, if I need to create something and then it's coming AI and they can copy and they can make some changes and whatever, this is I don't want to say, but it's a little Zara model, okay? That they don't have a very creative teams. They go to the markets, they buy whatever, they make some changes, and at the end of the day, in 3 weeks, they can have the product in the stores. I feel that AI is going to find his own place, or he has his own place already in the world, but we cannot compare a creative process of authenticity with an AI process. See, when you talk with Rob and you did that today. See that way that he goes to specific places in the specific time in the world and connect with the natural spaces. That kind of connection at the end of the day is emotions, okay? And that emotion, I'm not sure if AI can go to that level of emotion if you don't have the experience. It means that AI can use algorithms, can whatever you want, but the level of connection between a person and a place, and from there, if you have the sensibility, you can connect, you can record, or you can use as a canvas. And then from there, you can create something that is what you feel. This is a very personal thing. Okay. And this is going to be there forever. So AI can help. You can make it nicer. You can make it cheaper. You can do something in that kind of a space that you can use it, whatever. But the level of connection, human, natural spaces, and then you have the sensibility, you can create something that it's really amazing. I'm not sure that AI can go to that level, even that they can do amazing things. This is from one side, and then from the other side, in the creative economy, I feel that and I see in some of the artists, there is artists that they use AI as a tool, and it's okay. I have one artist that is full AI, but is using in completely different. And then I have another artist that they don't use AI at all. It means that, but let's see what AI is coming in the next years. How we are going to live with AI, because that's for sure that it's going to stay. It means that we are not going to stop. For me, the lack of regulation create a lot of uncertainties in the creative space, and this is something that the governments, they need to put a lot of speed to be sure that everybody who make any contribution in that kind of AI machine is protected, and it's super. And who owns the copyrights? Because that's a big question in the AI world. It's the person who create the algorithms, is the persons who put the inputs in the algorithms from the outputs, I don't know. This is even big questions that we still don't have the answers. And yeah, at the end of the day, I'm super happy with it. I don't have any questions on that part. And I feel that even with the companies itself, I think that Unilever, the other day it was announced that they are not going to use any more marketing agencies, and they are going to go to Gemini's, or I don't know which is the apps that right now they are using for that. But authenticity, that is, at the end of the day, when we started in ArtDott, it was three things: that it was diversity and inclusion and authenticity. For me, the authenticity, it's coming with the human artist. It's not coming with AI. It means that in any way, authenticity never is going to be replaced for AI, or never is going to be created from AI. And this is because we feel comfortable with the direction of to have a digital artist that really create a unique piece. Even that they have AI as a tool, they have always that kind of human touch in everything that they connect and they explain, and then they can use a layer of AI to make it more nicer, or to make some kind of things that they want to do. But we feel comfortable because it's part of our values, authenticity, and authenticity, I don't think that never it's going to come through AI.
No, I think Carl's made a lot of excellent points there, and I think I can continue off of the point with the creative economy. For my points as a shareholder in ArtDott and as a newly appointed creative director of ArtDott, it's I feel that for artists to thrive, there needs to be a solid team around them to make that happen. And it's very difficult to just be a solo artist. I have seen some people just like they are kind of savants on several different disciplines. They can network like crazy. They run on no sleep and they could just be online all the time. And I think those people will, I think those artists and creators will, they can sustain themselves in a really impressive kind of solo fashion. But um, I feel like most people don't really have that kind of support or that kind of skill sets, because some are much more focused on the craft and not so much on the marketing, for example, of how to get their artwork out there and or how to implement it on a technical level of like, okay, like we have all these different projectors and how do you split the rendering up into these different tiles. And so uh that's where we like discussing my role coming in as a creative director was to provide that means of support for all the other artists at ArtDott so that we can bring them into these larger immersive projects that would be very challenging to tackle as a solo artist. But as a team, we could do much bigger things together. And we can all share kind of our different expertise. Some of us are kind of more versed in how we communicate the ideas. Some of us are more versed in the how do we ingest data into the artwork and how do we express that? How do we implement it on site with the hardware, with the teams, with production? So that's where, from a creator economy point of view, like having a solid team and in our case, having a platform to support our other amazing artists that we have, really felt like the right way to go. And on the subject of AI, it's certainly a hot topic. There are definitely controversies around certain corners of it. And on the other side, there's amazing things done with cancer research, with medical. But speaking more on the creative side of things, I like to use AI as kind of an extension of like just keeping all the doors open, because what you can do with AI is I can feed it my own material. And this is something I've kind of taken inspiration from Imogen Heap and how she uses her own material to train her own AI. And she's created Imogen as this kind of AI kind of alter ego that instead of being afraid of how AI can devastate creative economies, how can we kind of use it to amplify new possibilities within our own process and our own way of thinking? And I feel that that's a much more productive path to take with AI versus versus thinking about everything that could go wrong with it. So I think that's in my case, like I'll feed it some landscapes that I've taken videos and photos of, and I can reimagine the time of day. I can reimagine the weather conditions, because it's the experience of going out into nature and capturing these places for real is so ephemeral. At one moment, it's one atmosphere, one mood, and one lighting. And then the next moment that can be completely changed, especially if you're in a place like Iceland, where every hour the weather is flipping over 180 degrees. So when I think about AI, I think about how can it be in service of the artist's authentic creative vision, but not to replace the output, but just to expand the possibilities, to expand the thinking. And that's where I feel that there's a lot of value and positivity and like productivity that can come for the artist in that regard. So I think that's kind of, those are kind of the thoughts I have.
I love that both of you guys are very positive, because sometimes I have probably me actually creating AI, and like you said, I like what you mentioned about that, the fact that the example of using AI to empower you, or to use AI even to create, for instance, in my case, I'm using AI sometimes to help me as a writer, as a creator as well. And actually, I'm using my AI digital twin on this blog, on this YouTube podcast series, and all my social media. She's actually right now a massive help for me, because it speaks better than me, it reads better than me, and it can do things in 150 languages. But I think coming back to ArtDott, I know that we're passing almost 1 hour and 15, so I'll go with the last two questions, and I want to do a take two because there's a lot of things here, especially we can bring even more artists going forward, or even a live event. So of course, coming back to ArtDott, and as well, I know Reuko, you as an art colleague right now, Reuko, but Reuko, how both of you guys are doing right now, the roadmap. So roadmap, what you mentioned right now is partnerships with global art spaces worldwide. You mentioned as well, if you go to the website ArtDott, there's a lot of artists there, and you guys have fantastic portfolios of artists. So, and for instance, what you mentioned, Rob, is the implications of using AI to empower, and Carlos, you were very positive as well. But effectively, there's a huge, I would say, AI divide that I find from even as a teacher, that when I have the universities, now I'm more a guest lecturer and work with universities, there's still a lot of myths about, first of all, understanding what is AI, how can it empower you, how you can use it for you, and as well how not to be robbed by it, let's put it that way. So on that positive side, how is your work and ArtDott going in that direction?
Yes, from my side, in a way that we see the role of ArtDott and the artists together in front of the clients is we see a lot of potential in artist in tech residency. It means that we see that artists working, because we see that there is this coming from my background, okay? You know that it was a big crisis in the last years in the retail side, in the luxury side. But there is crisis everywhere because we are in the middle of the revolution, digital transformation, and we need to do the things in completely different ways. The business models are changing in the speed that we never seen. And we are starting, and we know that it was a lot of opportunities. But one of the first steps before to put an artist in tech residence in that kind of companies is they need to change the leadership teams, okay? Because we started to realize that in that companies, they wanted to go to the direction of the digital transformation, but the leaders, they didn't know anything about digital. And it's a question of generation age, okay? I'm not going to talk about that now because it's not something to talk. But the first thing that in that transition that needs to happen before ArtDott or the artists of ArtDott are in the middle of the project is the leaders of the company, they need to be digital. And we are starting to see, and like Atleta in San Francisco, in the group Gap, the Gap is one of them, they started to change all the leaders to be sure that they understand what it means digital. And then from there, we feel that the artist is not just a project. Artist needs to be part of the builders of the languages that they are going to use to reconnect with the new generation of digital brains, okay? And that's the reason, because we see that there is a lot of opportunities in the artist in tech residency that needs to work very close with the leaders that they are defining the strategy in the digital space. And this is a good way to work. Then we see a lot of opportunities in the well-being. I think that there is a massive, after COVID, of what it means well-being in the city center of the cities, or in the experiences that the people, they can enjoy in that kind of immersive plus things that could happen there. And then the third one is, of course, everything that happened in that kind of events, immersive experience, in the events venues. So this is the places that right now we are investing to be sure that we have our place in the table of the decision, that we can put budgets, or the companies, they can allocate budgets on that, because it's not something that the people, they have budgets ready for that. It means that they need to have the right proposals, and they need to be sure that they are discussing and they allocate budgets on that. And then, of course, we have a big project in Middle East, but I don't want to share, but you are going to know soon the direction that we are taking. But yes, this is the places that we work together, and we see that we can have an impact and we can grow from there.
Yeah, and I want to touch on the wellness aspect of it, because of course with my experience working with immersive wellness with the 9D breathwork that we did in Dubai and London, we also did this really wonderful collaboration with the Mandrake Hotel at their award-winning Damu Spa to provide projection artworks for their flotation pool, the Origin pool. And that's something where digital artwork is uniquely suited for that kind of space, because digital artwork, it can breathe and it can live like an organism in that space. It evolve over time, whereas a painting is a fixed piece in time. It's a snapshot of a expression. But with the origin pool, for example, it was a journey of kind of a sensorial awakening of kind of your senses awakening at birth and connecting with the greater kind of cosmic energy around us. And like I'm gonna redo that for a second. So for the origin pool, it was a very the creative approach for that project was to kind of illustrate the experience of your senses reawakening, and to provide a space for you're in this pool for 50 minutes. You need to completely leave behind the world that you just came from and fully just be transported into this present moment of sound and haptics, because there's a lot of intersecting technologies being incorporated into the origin pool with vibration therapy and chromotherapy with light and color, and with sonic, with this kind of surround sonic surround speaker setup. And that's something where digital artwork is uniquely tailored to amplify those kind of wellness experiences. And I feel that there's a lot of strong potential to go further in that direction, where digital artwork is really supporting these therapeutic kind of channels, these experiences in ways that we haven't seen before with this living, breathing canvas. So
it's amazing, and I love your excitement and especially positive spirit. I'm actually thinking a lot of areas because there's a lot of questions I have, but I know we've been here for almost 1 hour and a half, so I want to be respectful.
Already? My God.
Yeah, it passes very fast. Well, thank you first of all for amazing insights and for being here and making this a very special moment where we actually managed to touch all my passions. Because art is actually one of my passions, and the fact that you can take cutting edge technology, business, and internationally, and like you said, Rob, as well, the wellness that brings with this. Because if you are creative, you feel always better. Actually, art therapy is a big thing as well, and this kind of environments and a lot of different things. So what I suggest is for people listening to us, we're going to, of course, highlight all the different parts. Of course, your work, Rob, is astonishing, and of course, Carlos, congratulations for all the work. But I know it's not easy to pull this off, and as well to be going around the world and pushing these artists and these platforms, and as well, Rob, for you to make the bridge between the two different things, which is particularly, I would say, challenging to say less.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'll definitely come back to you guys to do a take two, because I would like to do especially on the creators economy. And I think also we can bring some common friends and so forth. I think with you, Rob, we touch so much different things, and as well probably bring a CTO on the move or a big brand or stuff like that. I think it's important to put that as well. So thank you so much, first of all. I know that there's much more questions, but I'll leave that for take two. Thank you so much for being here, and I'm very grateful as well for your inspiration and positive. I think we need that as well more than ever.
We do. We absolutely do. Thank you. 100%. Thank you so much. Appreciate your time.
Bye-bye.
Cheers. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching this episode. Please share your thoughts, questions, or a topic you want next in the comments section. My team and I read them all and will tailor our future videos around your feedback. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the next drop. Until next time, stay healthy and informed.